really encouraged how we played, and it really makes for a really interesting NFC North.
The ceiling for Caleb Williams, if he greases this offense, would be MVP. He has the physical talent to be an MVP at this league in the NFL. Now, there's a large gap that he's got to close when it comes to how to run this offense at the very highest level. If we're just taking the lateral conversation of Jared Goff, who was a number one pick, who's taken two different teams to NFC Championship games, Jared Goff and Caleb Williams. If we're just asking who's physically more gifted, it's Caleb Williams. But in the 3 years with Ben Johnson, Jared Goff threw for like 96 touchdowns, I think like 30 interceptions, a QB passer rating of 105, and 14,000 yards. Big time ball, like big time football. Caleb's more physically talented. Now, Jared does more experience. He does things in that offense when it comes to playing on time, playing in rhythm, seeing windows, throwing with anticipation, all that Caleb has to close that gap. But if he gets there over the course of, let's say, 2 seasons, his ceiling is an MVP caliber player. I'm just telling everybody, my thought is it's not going to happen now. Right. It was great last night. It was awesome. The one thing you wanted to see, play, right place, right time, it happened. He's going to see a lot of different things coverage-wise and personnel-wise as this season goes on. But he has tremendous physical talent if he puts it all together under this scheme.
He's going to see a lot of things as the season goes on that he didn't see last night because the Bills were playing plain vanilla defense.
As basic coverage as you can see.
With backups. Now, also, the Bears are going through their own adjustment period where Ben Johnson, their head coach, has loaded up Caleb Williams with all the offense he could to see what he could and couldn't handle. And their hope is that by the time they get to the regular season, Caleb's knowledge will grow, and Ben will know what Caleb is and isn't capable of. And they are putting their faith in Ben Johnson, and we saw a glimpse of what he could do in one preseason game last night, 38 points, over 500 yards in a preseason game. But that is what he did in Detroit, and that is why the Chicago Bears went as hard after him as they did. If we look back at the last 3 seasons in Detroit, Ben Johnson's offense had 177 touchdown drives and 154 points. You guys have both been in football. Punts.
Yes, more touchdowns than
More
punts.
touchdowns over 3 years than punts. That ratio is going to win a lot of games. If they can come anywhere close to that in Chicago with a quarterback who's physically probably more gifted than Jared Goff, who also was a number 1 overall pick at one point in time, then the Bears are going to have a lot of good moments like they did on Sunday night against the Bills.
Yeah, Stephen A., I mean, the Bears, they retooled that entire offense. They basically set it up for Caleb Williams to be successful. What do you think is going to be his ceiling?
Especially the offensive line, because, you know, Ben Johnson wants to get physical, no doubt about that. He wants physicality. He wants a running game because he believes that's going to assist in protecting Caleb Williams, which is what it's all about. The man was on suicide watch last year. Got sacked about 68 times, which was about, I don't know whether it was 14 or 17 more than anybody else had been sacked. It was a pretty bad situation. But yet and still, he still threw for over 3,500 yards. All right, had 20 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, and we keep forgetting that. I'm glad you brought up the fact that he's a stud athletically, Dan, because he is. I believe in this brother. I believe that he is going to show that he was worthy of being the number 1 pick, even with Jaden Daniels at number 2. I think that Caleb Williams has the potential to be that special and that impressive. But here's my biggest, evidence of support for him. You know who else believes that? Ben Johnson. We don't bring this up enough. That man was an elite offensive coordinator. Look at what Detroit did the last 2 years. Look at the weapons that they had. Look at what this man did. And he took the Chicago job. He don't take that job if there's a Mitchell Trubisky-type quarterback in the Chicago Bears. He took it because Caleb Williams is there. And somehow, some way, watching film, competing against him, seeing him perform, looking to go Dan's route at what he did in college and stuff like that, you know the brother's got some potential. So I look at the weapons that they have. I look at the fact that they focused more on protecting him. The game was a bit too fast for him last year. They're trying to slow it down now. Repetition is what Ben Johnson preaches about. We see all of these things transpiring, along with more physicality, the likelihood of a running game. Okay, you got to do Zay, and you've got these cats at the wide receiver spot. You know, with DJ Moore and stuff, you know what they bring to the table. I just think it's one of those situations where Caleb Williams, I think he's going to have a pretty impressive season. I expect a lot from him this year, and I think he's going to deliver.
If everything falls into the right place, he's going to be the best quarterback the Bears have ever had. I know that
ain't hard. That ain't saying much.
I mean, Harbaugh, really good player. Jim McMahon, really good player. So they've had some good ones. They've had some good
Jim
ones.
McMahon, the Super Bowl champion. Super Bowl champion. That's fine with Jim McMahon, okay? And let's not forget Jay Cutler, who always looked depressed. All right, maybe it was because of the weather in Chicago. I don't know. But the point is this: you got Jay Cutler. You got Jay Cutler. You had Mitchell Trubisky. You had Harbaugh. You had Jim McMahon. All I'm saying to you is this: no disrespect, no shade. But saying that he's going to be the greatest quarterback in the history of the Chicago Bears, I can make a legitimate argument he might pull that off this season compared to what we've seen them having at their disposal for the last 40 years.
Stephen,
for the last 40 years.
It all begins with this. Chicago's produced the Pope before they produced a 4,000-yard passer.
Yeah, but there's different areas of football in Windy City, so stylistically it matters.
Great line,
but this
Mike
is
T.
this is why I believe there's no quarterback under more pressure than Caleb. Now, but I also don't think it's going to happen overnight. But especially coming off of last night.
I got that. But it ain't hard. All I'm saying to you, Dan Orlovsky, is that it ain't hard for him to be seen as the greatest quarterback in the Chicago Bears franchise. They ain't really had an elite one in 40 years.
Stephen A., I want to get back.
40 years.
I want to get back to something you said. You said you expect a lot from Caleb Williams. What exactly do you expect to see from him on the field?
Stop dancing around answering the question and say something.
Yeah.
Man, wait a minute, hold on.
I think he's
That's
going
the
to play.
first. I've never been accused of not saying anything. Okay. You want to play that game? You want to play that game? That's fine. I believe that the Chicago Bears are going to compete for a wild card spot. I think they can win 9 to 10 games. I believe Caleb Williams is going to throw for over 4,000 yards. And I think that he's going to have a significantly better season than he had last year.
Here we go. See, we got Stephen A. to give a direct answer. There you
67
go.
minutes it took.
He's never had a problem giving a direct answer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is television. There are such things as teasers. And by the way, I would know a thing or two about what rates.
Oh, you know what? See, he knows a little bit about what rates and what doesn't. He just finds a way.
He always finds a way.
Speaking of teasers, let's go to the break. Justin Fields and the Jets offense show signs of concern versus the Giants, but find out why someone here still thinks they are sneaky contenders in the AFC. I want to know who that is. Russell Wilson had mixed results on offense in his second preseason outing. Should he still be in line to start week 1 for the Giants? We aren't seeing eye to eye on that one as well. A lot going on here this morning. Dan looks stressed out.
I'm going to run out of battery.
Never. I'm chill.